Harborside Inc. currently manages the Harborside Oakland and Harborside San Jose retail cannabis dispensary stores in California, which is projected to be the largest adult-use cannabis market in the United States. The Harborside Oakland dispensary was founded in 2006 by Steve DeAngelo and Dress Wedding. Combined, the two Harborside dispensaries have generated over 400 million Canadian in sales since their opening, including 50 million Canadian in sales in 2017. In addition, Harborside operates a cultivation campus in Salinas, California that was established in 2016 and produces high-quality, low-cost cannabis at a scale for sale through the Harborside dispensaries, third-party dispensaries, distributors, and manufacturing partners. Harborside's mission is to consolidate its market share in the California Bay Area and grow its market share throughout California through both the focused acquisitions of high-performing cannabis dispensaries and brands and the organic growth of its existing cannabis-related assets. Harborside trades on the CSE under the ticker symbol HBOR.
My guest is Andrew Berman. He's the CEO of Harborside Inc., trading on the CSE under symbol HBOR. Andrew, welcome.
Thank you for having me, James. What a pleasure.
Harborside is probably one of the best-known stories in the whole cannabis space in the state of California and probably in the United States, thanks to its chairman and founder, Steve DeAngelo.
Chairman Emeritus, yes.
Chairman
Emeritus.
Emeritus, okay. Yes. And anyway, so I've known of Steve's work, and I've had the pleasure of interviewing Steve in the past. I'm very familiar with what all he's contributed to the industry. So tell me how this all evolved to become a publicly traded company.
Well, and I agree with you. Steve's done a tremendous amount for the industry, and he's been fighting on the front lines for 40 years. How did we get to where we are? Well, a lot of this had to do with Steve. Steve and I had been talking since late 2016. We actually met each other. He was actually interested in doing some licensing work in one of the Bay Area counties. I had been my personal hobby is local government. I've been a mayor of a small California town. He was in that county, and everyone said, you ought to meet Andy. He knows I had some cannabis stuff going on the side over here, and he knows everybody in the town. He was the mayor, and I meet Steve, and we talk, and for a lot of reasons, that whole project fell through for all the right reasons. And he was doing a friends and family round, so I invested in the company and then spent time getting to know Steve. Meanwhile, California, on a macro level, California's regs are changing then. This is a medical cannabis nonprofit environment that is going to go full throttle into an adult use regulated environment. And Steve knew, to his credit, that wasn't something he was, had it in his heart to really be able to do. He'd been he's been an activist, he'd been fantastic in that other setting. And so we talked very consciously. I spent 2017 getting to know each other. It was a family business, getting to know his partner and his brother and his daughters all in the business, and made a very conscious decision, coterminous with the regs changing on January 1/18, for Andy to take over the business, Steve to move into the Chairman Emeritus role. He sold the first gram of legal cannabis in the state of California on January 1/18, cut the ribbon, said, Andy, here you go.
That's great.
And since then, it's been, just an exciting ride, as you know, right? California, great market.
Well, I've been to Harborside's location in Oakland. Yeah. And I was really impressed with the level of service being shown to what were clearly a patient clientele.
Correct.
And for me, that was one of the first places I had ever been that was actually a dispensary full of patients, not recreational users masquerading as patients, as is the case in some areas. But it was like a revelation. It was like that, that the idea of legitimizing what had been previously deemed a drug and which has caused lots of hardship in people's lives could be so perfectly sort of integrated into society at a level that is very social and serving the community. Yes. And so for that, I've always held Steve and Harborside in very high regard. Now, since then, the whole industry has now exploded. You've got dispensaries almost on every corner, 80% of which are not actually legal. And so what is the competitive landscape like for an incumbent originator like Harborside?
Well, so just a couple of things. So really appreciate those comments about the store and the experience. As you know, for many, we set the gold standard, right, for what retail should look like. And for us, it has been about trust and choice and value for those customers and still some patients that are coming in, right? A place that you could trust the product that's being put put on the shelf to be clean. Lots of choice. We've always been purveyors of very fine cannabis and want to keep that up. And value. We're not always the cheapest game in town, but we always have some products that are value. You're absolutely right, though. The competitive landscape is tough, the legal market, right? Many people don't understand that the California market, if you and I were sitting in 2017 and talking about what the industry was going to tell us about California in 2018, they were going to tell you that this market was just going to balloon and it would be up 35%. And what happened is the market actually shrunk in 2018 a bit because of all the regulations, because of the compliance, because of testing that was kicking in, getting your licenses. The result of that has been the competitive landscape in the black market that you're talking about. It has been nurtured, robust. The taxes are enormous. A $10 pre-roll joint that you would have bought in December of 2017 costs you $13.50 now, right out the door. And so the biggest competitor, and this is not unique to Harborside, but you've actually spot on, James. It's the black market, right? And it has just gotten a great boost of energy in that. And as some of the folks from out of state are looking at California as well, because it is the largest cannabis market in the planet. Northern California alone, the Bay Area is going to be a $2 billion market, right? We have a great foothold there. Right. But you look at cities that are West Hollywood, 8 licenses, 350 applicants. Another town in Northern California, going to have 2 licenses, 75 applications. It's just become such a competitive process like that too. So it's tough. Taxes are tough. The black market is tough. Banking remains tough for all the folks that are in the legal, compliant business.
So then what does the footprint of Harborside look like now throughout the state of California, and how do you plan to expand that footprint in terms of patients, locations, products?
Well, our footprint today, so when I took over the business, we had our 2 stores and a farm that was working its way through operations down in Monterey County. Today we've got a footprint that includes 5 stores in 2 states. We have 2 stores partners that we have, and we'll be managing 2 more stores and controlling the supply chain and the shelf space that are under construction that will open this year. So that will be 7 stores. We've expanded from the Harborside brand to include 2 more brands, including Key and Agris, and we've expanded our cultivation operations. So we have over 200,000 square feet of cultivation, greenhouse cultivation, and 40,000 square feet of outdoor cultivation. So we've become this vertically integrated entity. We've got 1 store, one of those stores of that 7 footprint is opening up in Southern California, so beginning to look at Southern California. And that really is the strategy. We have enough cultivation capacity to feed the stores that we have now, and as we grow and include more retail, we have the ability to scale that up. We have the footprint on retail, and we love to think about controlling the life and flow of brands, not just our own, but supporting that ecosystem because of the issues in the state and because of some of the supply constraints. We are very, very happy to supply some of our biomass. We like that to other partners whose products then come on our shelves. We have always been about keeping this industry, creating this industry, nurturing this industry, and we're going to continue to do that.
Okay, so then in terms of from an investor's perspective, what's the outlook in terms of profit going out, say, 6, 12, 24, 36 months?
Well, I think this is a great opportunity, obviously, for investors. You look at a comparative basis. We did about $14 million US on a system-wide pro forma basis in Q1. That's about $18 million Canadian. You compare that to some of the other large players, that's roughly about 1/3 the size of Truliev's revenue in that quarter, roughly half the size of MedMen's. MedMen is valued at $1.5 billion, and we're sitting here with a market cap of about $250 million. So we see a tremendous amount of upside in our stock and in our business. Remember that everybody wants to be in California. It is a fantastic market. It is the largest market. As I said, the Bay Area itself is a big market. There are so many barriers to entry to get into that market. It is the licensing requirements. It is understanding the regulatory framework. It is not like any state, but California, because it was putting the toothpaste back in the tube, regulating an industry had been around for 22 years. It is a complicated structure. We understand that. So there's not only upside in the business itself, but there's upside in a business that's got a great foothold in the largest cannabis market. So we see tremendous upside. Just on the market side, and I know this a lot because my own, that local government background that I have, when the state was issuing its regs, it told the states, if you don't do something by a certain date, we're going to control the process. So most cities in the state said, nope, not going to happen, no cannabis here. So you've got a state with 485 cities and 70% of them haven't even dealt with cannabis yet. So to me, there's tremendous opportunity in this state, and so having a foothold there, right, and I think it provides some long-term growth. We've been doing this a long time. We weathered a lot, and Steve has weathered a lot. We've weathered a lot. We're in this for the long haul. Sure.
So 70% of the municipalities don't have cannabis regulations?
Yeah, they don't yet.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
it's a tremendous opportunity.
It's a tremendous. That's what I'm saying. It's a tremendous opportunity in the state. You look at there were thousands of grows. There's hundreds now, right? And because they have to go through the process. There were 1,500 or 2,000 cannabis retail stores in 2017. There's 600 now, less than 600 now. So there's tremendous opportunity as more things come online, as the state figures out and get the regs in place, as the remember the regs have been phased in. First get your licenses, then packaging and labeling and testing, right? And now we're going to switch over to the metric system, the track and trace system. So people are trying to navigate all this stuff. We've been influential in creating some of the regs. It's a comfortable place for us to be in this great market.
Well, it sounds like Harborside's got a really great future in front of it, Andrew. We're going to come and visit you in California with a crew.
Would love this.
And we're going to have you back regularly, just because Harborside, if any organization in this industry is deserving of coverage, it's Harborside. Thank you very much for joining me today.
We would love people to come, right? Because it is hard to appreciate. I was talking to somebody while I was here this week, and they were just reflecting on the fact that they visited a lot of stores, and then suddenly you get to Harborside and you go, wow, there's something different here. It's a place to learn about cannabis, experience cannabis, talk about cannabis, buy cannabis. Would love you to come. Thank you for that. Love to come back and really appreciate it.
Thank you.
My best.